Close to Auckland Airport, SPCA Inspector Karen Lowndes is responding to an emergency call. It's a macabre scene and rather puzzling. A dozen or so live pigeons are on the grass, next to a rubbish bag which contains more dead birds.
This is really weird. I don't actually know what's going on here. It looks like somebody has obviously not wanted their pigeons anymore. Perhaps, I don't know how they've been killed, I'll find out. And I don't know whether those ones were still alive in the sack and they've got out or somebody's let them out. I've got no idea. And it's obviously a really grisly sight. We've got bands on them, but there's nothing on the bands to indicate anything. Often it will have a number on it, which will identify perhaps the age of the bird and where it comes from. I don't know what that means. I'll have to look into it. Oh. Sorry. Oh, I didn't realise that one was still alive. How horrendous. I mean, they don't even look like they've been dead that long. They've just, you know.
The locals are just as perplexed, but Karen's determined to solve the mystery.
How horrendous. You're not the one who's got pigeons around here. Do you live around here?
Yes, I live here, but there's no one here who has pigeons.
I just can't work it out, because did you open the bag? Did you actually find them?
No, my cousin opened it. She's down at the marae at the moment.
Oh, so she just saw the bag moving and ripped it open, and some of them were still alive.
Well, I got off the van,
Yep.
looked over here, and there was the dead ones. But the rest of them wouldn't fly away. They just sat around here.
I know, they've only just flown away. I don't know where they've gone.
Half an hour when I arrived this morning, there's nothing here.
So it's been done this morning. Well, that may be good, because there's been some people around, obviously, with the market gardens here. Maybe somebody just saw a car go past. Yeah, it's going to be hugely tricky to find out, you know, without somebody seeing a car or somebody drop the bags off here, or the bag. Hugely motivated to get to the bottom of this. Absolutely horrendous. I can't, it's completely unnecessary. We would have rehomed any animal. This is, you know, we're there for that. You don't ever have to do this. It's just ridiculous. Completely unnecessary.
There has to be an explanation for such cruelty, and SPCA volunteer Lynn McDonald provides some clues.
These look like ties where people tie them up.
What do you mean by tie them up?
Well, people new to the country actually put these little ties on, and then they tie them to somewhere and keep them till they eat them. These aren't pigeon bands or racing bands at all.
They eat them?
Yeah, they eat them. No, they look like they've died from suffocation because of
Some
that,
of them,
but I'm not sure.
such a
They're all
shame.
domestic birds. They've all been reliant on people. This one, for instance, can't home back to home because it's got a fantail. They can't fly very well. But all these, if they were let go, they would just fly back home again.
With her suspicion growing, Karen's next approach is to Berend Westra, a veterinarian who specialises in birds. Karen's hoping for some answers.
I just would like to know how they died, so maybe if you could do an autopsy or something.
The SPCA need to know the exact cause of death before they can prosecute. That's if they can find the culprit. So an autopsy on the birds is an essential part of the process.
Do you think that they could have possibly suffocated in the bag?
Oh, were they in the bag?
They were all in the bag. This is how I found them.
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah.
Okay.
The autopsy reveals that the birds did come to a grisly end. Berend finds bruising around their necks, which indicates they were partially strangled before being left for dead in the rubbish bag. Some were luckier than others.
You can see the black marking around the neck here, you know, where there's been bruising done in here. I think he gave up halfway through, that he tried to strangle them and obviously didn't kill them completely.
And so he's put them in the bag,
and
maybe
just
he's
put it
still
in the
partially
bag.
alive.
Yeah.
It appears that the death of the birds was unnecessary. The owner could have notified the SPCA and they would have been rehoused. Unfortunately, the pigeons that got away will probably have flown back to the coop, which means there's an urgency to find the culprit. Ignorance is a recurring problem for the SPCA. Near Warkworth, there's concern for a horse left to fend for itself.
There's a thin horse that I dealt with, or thought I dealt with about 6 months ago, with an owner who doesn't actually live on site here, but he hadn't seen it for a while, and he thought that if I thought it looked like it needed to be put down, then that was the best thing. And when I rechecked about a week or so later, the horse didn't appear to be anywhere on land, and I thought, cool, sorted, done. 6 months down the track, we've had another call, thin horse, same address. So yeah, turns out he didn't do what he said he had done, so today we're here and we're going to sort it out for him. All right, well, there she is.
Well, it looks like there's lots of grass here, but...
Yeah, I mean, I said at the time when I asked him, has he ever done any teeth or anything like that, and he goes, oh, no.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's probably she's...
Yeah, belly full of worms
doesn't
and...
eat that well, and yeah, worms.
Bad
And...
teeth. Hey, you good girl. Look what we got.
Inspector Todd Neal and animal manager Rachel Green approach the old horse and attempt to get on first-name terms with it.
You're only little, aren't you?
Oh, we could call it Emma, because she has dreadlocks, like one of our staff, Emma.
Marley, let's call her Marley.
Marley.
Bob Marley. Rasta.
Ah,
Marley.
Marley.
Yeah.
There we go, Marley.
Marley she is. With this particular horse, it's obvious the owner has turned a blind eye to its suffering. Marley has a swollen belly and is in poor condition generally.
She could possibly have a tumour. You can just see, I'd say that she has got a teeth problem because you can just see how much food she's putting in her mouth and how much is actually just falling straight out. She's not actually digesting too much of it because it's just basically falling out of her mouth. She's trying really hard to lick that up, really.
Let's have a look at your teeth. Can you see them? Not really.
I'd say it'd be these back ones up here because she's a little bit swollen. I'm not going to stick my hand in and find out though. No. I'll leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, most horses would have finished this bucket by now, and it's still pretty much the same level as when we started.
Marley's obviously in need of help, and Todd and Rachel decide to take her back to the SPCA.
Basically, we'll get her checked out by a vet to see what it is, why she isn't putting on weight, and I mean, I'd say there's a good chance that a lot of it is to do with age, but I'd say she's obviously needing a little bit of TLC as well in terms of worming and teeth, and probably a bit of hoof work done as well. I think she's a bit
not too bad.
Not too bad.
Shall we move her towards the float?
Okay.
Follow him. He's got food.
I think she will. No worries.
She's trying really hard to look either side of you to find where that food's gone.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be too much of a shock.
Getting a horse on a float can sometimes be a problem, but Marley has a placid temperament and is keen to keep on eating and so happily climbs on board. In fact, she seems more than content to accompany the team to greener pastures.
It's a case of neglect, basically. I mean, she's an old horse, and old horses need a bit of extra care. I mean, to anyone, and especially an owner, if they've had her for a long time, they must be able to see that she's not keeping condition on. And I mean, it's just basically a case of neglect.
I don't think we'd go as far as prosecuting it. I think it is a case of out of sight, out of mind. She's losing condition, and eventually it's just a case where she would, not have enough energy or anything to carry on, and she'd fall over and not be able to get up in the paddock. So we have to step in before that happens.
Todd will be asking Marley's owner to surrender her to the SPCA. If all goes well, this old horse is on her way to a happier retirement. Ponsonby in Auckland is known for its urban chic. Even the animals have an air of the exotic about them. SPCA driver Rochelle Rogers has been called to pick up a rabbit.
A little bunny for us.
Or a possum or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is.
Have a look and see. It's not a possum and it's not a rabbit. What it is a chinchilla. Very cute, very cuddly little animals that originated from South America, apparently. Something I don't see every day anyway. It could possibly have been found under a car or something like that, and that's why it's got the oil and so forth on it. Whereabouts did you actually find it?
Under my car.
Under your car?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thought he was a possum or a rabbit or a mixture of both. I don't know. It's cute, but he's scared. Just picked him up, he just sat still because he was really scared, so I just picked him up.
They are quite flighty little animals. They're a bit like rabbits, but perhaps a little bit more nervous than what rabbits are.
Because I didn't want to scare it onto the road.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, we might put him back in the box and we'll get him off to base and get him vet checked, and hopefully we'll find an owner for him. Okay, sweetie pie, we'll pop you back in the box.
Chinchillas retail for up to $300, and it's unlikely that such an unusual and expensive pet will stay at the SPCA for very long. At the stables, Marley, the old horse picked up from a paddock near Warkworth, is about to have a bath, and the staff find a few hangers-on.
Yeah, there's a huge tick on her neck. No, it's the biggest one I've seen in ages.
Ticks everywhere. This is just to get the dirt and crud off it first. mostly the bird that she seems to have been used as a resting post. And then we'll put some parasite wash on her to actually kill the ticks. It's probably been quite a number of years, I'd say, before she had one. It's been very good.
Marley's owner had agreed 6 months ago to put the horse down, but didn't comply. Even though Marley's 28, Rachel's confident they'll find a new home for her final years.
She's at an age where, you know, she should just be able to retire in peace and just be well looked after. A lot of people like to have older horses that can help calm the younger ones down. A lot of people take them even to, to races or dressage events, actually take them in the trucks to keep the other horses calm, and I think, she'd be pretty good at that. She doesn't seem to be too fazed by too many things. So we're just going to put the wash on her to get rid of all her little friends. And then this just stays on her. So she'll probably go out into the paddock and have a nice big roll.
After a good wash and some pampering, it's gratifying for Rachel to see the difference in Marley.
Bit of life in the old girl yet.
The stray chinchilla found sheltering under a car has found a good friend in vet nurse Rocky Moses.
I'm going to give it a dust bath because that's what they really need. She needs it quite badly. With chinchillas, you can't actually wet them, so you can't bath them in water because they can get pneumonia really easily. So they have a special calcium bath which helps get rid of any grime, little mites if they've got mites, and they really enjoy it. I mean, they're really distinctive because they don't look like any other animal. They have a look of a cross between a rabbit and a squirrel because they also have a little a tail that curls up. Depending on the colours, like for her, she's actually a standard grey. So she's probably going to go for about $150 to $180. You can get black velvets, which go for more than that. You can pay up to about $200 to $300 for just one chinchilla. Have you had enough? No, not really. This is one way of cooling down as well.
Chinchillas like to have 10 to 15-minute dust baths most days of the week, and they really need to be looked after by someone who knows what they're doing.
They can die really easily through not proper care. So we may actually just send her to a well-known pet shop, depending on if we can't find a home for her. I can't believe nobody's come looking for her.
Little Evie, the puppy who was savagely beaten and sustained multiple injuries to her legs and face, is off to Franklin Vets for a checkup.
Hello.
It's been 5 weeks since her last operation.
She's grown. She has grown a lot.
Evie's been on cage rest ever since, and vet surgeon Ruth Humans gives her prognosis.
Yeah, I think she's using the leg reasonably well, but I'm just a little concerned at how much swelling she's got in the hip area. Okay. But that's something we can check on her x-ray today. It's a good time to take an x-ray because I can feel still quite a lot of swelling around her hip. Yep. It may just be scar tissue, but we want to make sure that the screws haven't loosened or anything like that.
Yeah, okay.
The sounds and smells of vet clinics have become familiar to Evie in the last few weeks. She's a puppy who's had to become used to drugs and operating tables. Today she's only having a series of x-rays, but for dogs this procedure means an anaesthetic.
Might need to do this one again a bit.
From a medical perspective, the news is good.
We've repaired the fracture with 2 screws and a pin, and you can see today that the screws and pin are still in place. Nothing's come loose in spite of Evie being a very active puppy. We can still see the fracture line, so it's not fully healed yet. That means that we need to keep her caged up probably for another month, which I know Evie is not going to appreciate, but for her own good she needs to be kept very quiet. This lower screw, we can see a little bit of lysis or bone loss around the screw itself. We don't want that screw to loosen prematurely or, she could have a problem.
So it's cage rest for another month. Sad news for Evie, but at least she's been given a second chance after such a harrowing start to life. Karen is returning to the area where the pigeons were dumped to see if she can find out more information about who committed this crime.
Hello. You didn't see who dropped the bag off, did you?
No, I wish we did, now that when we found out. Because I thought the pigeons had dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, well, it kind of looked like that.
There were so many all in one place.
Oh, beautiful.
And they were so lovely and healthy.
I know, they were. Unfortunately, I found nothing. So, but anyway, I'll keep the case open, and who knows? Someone might come forth once it's in the paper.
Well, I know we keep
telling
telling each other. Thank you, that would be wonderful to know.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice
See you later. Karen from the SPCA. We just, I found a bag of pigeons the other day, last Friday.
Oh, yeah.
On the side of the road there.
Oh.
And so we're just asking anybody, did you see anything? Did you see anybody drop the bag off, a rubbish bag?
No, we didn't see anything like that.
You didn't see. We found a bag of pigeons, and they kind of half killed some of them and just stuffed 30 of them into a plastic. I know, it's really, really sad.
Look, anybody wants to get rid of pigeons, they can bring it to me.
Yeah, because they're lovely. Well, there were a lot there, but they obviously flew home.
They bring a lot of money in the shops.
Well, exactly. Yeah, there's no need to kill them.
Karen's theory is that the pigeons were being raised as food by new immigrants, but that still doesn't explain their fate.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't see anything either. So I've been to a few of the houses around here, and nobody seems to have seen anything. I've contacted the local papers, and the story, with a bit of luck, will be out in tomorrow's paper. If I don't get any response from there, I don't know where to go from here, basically. So it appears the person who did it will get away with it from now.
At the SPCA, Rocky's enjoying looking after her exotic ward. The little chinchilla's been at the SPCA for the mandatory period of 7 days, and no one has claimed her yet, but the staff are taking a keen interest in her.
They're actually from the Andes Mountains, kind of high up in cool, dry, nice places. They're actually quite suited to cooler temperatures. In fact, their usual range is sort of a 10 to 16 degree range, and in fact they can have quite severe health problems and even die if it gets over above about 27. Most of their problems come from the housing and the nutrition, so the proper bedding and the proper nutrition. And chinchillas get this really funny predator avoidance and defense mechanism called fur slip. So if somebody grabs them or they get nervous, they actually let all their fur go in that area. So you end up with giant bald patches on your chinchilla. It doesn't hurt the skin, but they'll just like let all the hair go. So if you grabbed a tail, like it could literally let all the tail hair go or all the fur go in an area. So far, he's not doing that, which is good. So let's see, what are we gonna do now? Obviously, we're not gonna put up any posters. We've waited her stray time.
More than her stray
We've
time.
waited her stray time. So no one's come to claim her. So at this point, we will go ahead and adopt her out. Obviously, with unique animals such as this, or animals that need special attention, we really like to make sure of who adopts her. We're not going to give her out to the first person that puts up their hand and goes, I want a fuzzy chinchilla. So we'll likely rehome her to somebody that has had experience with chinchillas and can demonstrate that.
Well, if she does not find a suitable home, there could be a very likely chance that I could be taking her home.
It's been 3 days since Marley, the elderly mare, was rescued from a paddock near Warkworth. Since arriving at the SPCA, she's enjoyed a bath, a roll in the paddock and the company of other horses. But this afternoon, to everyone's shock, she's taken a sudden turn for the worse and has become extremely unwell and distressed.
Well, yeah, obviously she was bathed this morning and was quite bright and happy and running around the paddock. But it was just noticed that she, just half an hour ago or so, that she was just standing in the paddock and not looking very happy and a bit unsteady on her feet. So we brought her in here and she's definitely not happy, as you can see. Her breathing's really laboured and she's discharging a lot out of her nose. I mean, at this stage, we're not really sure what, whether it's a direct result of the bath or whether she's done something else or whether, you know, today was just her day. So
it's just horrible when you see them in pain and there's nothing we can do. We just gotta stay here and comfort her till the vet gets here, and then the vet mightn't have a really good idea on what's going wrong with her. And
So how long has he been like this?
Well, we've only noticed it probably the last hour, just before we rang you. I mean, she was bathed about 11:30 this morning, and I say she was bright and happy and running around and rolling then. Yeah.
It doesn't take long for the vet to confirm the worst.
It's not very good.
No. We did guess that. Yeah. I mean, when she came in obviously with a big, huge belly, and we thought there might be other issues going on in there.
I actually think she might have a tumour in her heart that's exploded or ruptured at the moment. That's why she's bleeding, because it causes those blood vessels, and there's fluid line in the lungs, which is probably the bleeding into the lungs that causes this much distress. With all the horses, that's what you run into. It'd be very hard to get her back.
Everyone is devastated, but they're comforted by the thought that they were there for her at the end.
At least she's not still up in the paddock with no one to, be there for her.
At least she's here.